Hi, it's Bobby here. I would like to show a video on how to thread the Brother NQ3500D. Okay, so this is my sewing machine and embroidery machine that I recently acquired, and I have 5 sewing machines. So pretty much they all thread pretty similarly. They're not identical, but sewing machines are pretty standard. So they're, even though they're different, they're not anything crazy. If you can thread one, you can probably thread another one. But let me just go ahead and start getting into just how to do it on this machine. If you do want to access an on-screen tutorial, you can do that. You can press the question mark button on the screen and then walk through the steps of how to thread it. I already know how to thread it, and some of these steps I don't think are necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and just get out of that and just show you how I thread it. So basically the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have a spool pin cap. Okay, so these little round discs, they go on the end of the spool pin like this. Okay, so you can use whatever size that you have. You want to make sure that it is bigger than the end of your spool so that the thread doesn't get caught on the end of the spool. So this is a smaller spool of thread, so the smaller cap would be fine for this application. So the first thing to do before you even start to thread the machine, make sure the presser foot is up. If it's down, you cannot thread the machine because the tension discs will be closed. Tension discs have to be open to thread any machine, and they're only open when the foot is up. So you have to make sure the foot is up before you thread a sewing machine. Otherwise they won't be able to receive the thread, and they have to do that to make stitches. So that's really important. But let me go ahead and just put this on here. So this does pivot up a little bit to make it easier to load. Just pop the thread on the spool pin and then cover it with a cap. Push the cap all the way back to the spool until they're touching and making contact. Then you can just start threading, just following the steps. I just accidentally touched the screen. If you would like to turn that off, press this button here. This little button that has a presser foot and some arrows, that will turn off the screen and all of the controls, so I can't press anything. It gets the foot out of the way, so it'll just lock the touchpad, and then the only button that will work is the button to turn that feature off. So we can do that to start threading, and it will just save us from accidentally bumping things when we're threading. But basically the threading guide is all numbered, so there are two sets of threading guides here. One is for winding the bobbin, that's a dashed line. The solid line is the one for threading the machine. So we've got step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's what we're going to do. Now this did put the foot down, so when I get over here to the tension discs, I'm going to have to raise that foot manually just to open them back up again. And I could even do that now. See, the controls are still not going to work. That's why I pushed that button, but we don't want the foot down when we're threading, so that's really important to know. But let's just go ahead and go through the steps. Number 1 is just this black plastic, or this white plastic guide right here. So it's just going behind this and then under this metal piece here. So basically you go under the metal piece and then straight up. Okay, and that is going to step number 2, which is just around the curve. So it's going to curve around this way and come down. So we're going over here, just bringing the thread through, following the arrows and the numbered steps. Okay, so it's very easy to get right because they have made it easy. So right now, this is where the tension assembly is. So we want to make sure that it gets seated in there. Just pull straight down, and then we're going to come up around step number 3. Okay, now we're going to go into the take-up lever. So basically for that, what we want to do, pull the thread up. Okay, we want to go back toward the back of the machine, toward the dust cover and stitch chart, and then forward. Okay, and that makes sure that the thread is seated in the take-up lever. And then back down that same slot again. Okay, and then that is step 5. There's really not a step 5, it's just kind of telling you to put it toward the needle, so that's already what's happening. And then there is a metal guide on the top of the needle bar. So basically, I don't think you can see that from this angle, but there is a little metal guide right on the top of the needle bar, which is step 6. And you basically bring the thread through that from left to right. I'm sorry, from right to left, I said it backwards, but you just draw it through the slit. So basically, let me show you. You can see there's a little slit right here, and so that just goes right through the slit, and then it's ready for threading. So basically what you do is you just take the thread up and draw it through number 7, which is actually the needle threader. So you just draw it through the slit in number 7. Okay, you can cut it off if you would like to with the razor on the side. And then just pull the needle threader down. And it puts the thread right through the eye of the needle, literally through the eye of the needle. So you don't have to do anything else. So that's really nice. Okay, it doesn't require 2 hands to operate that threader. There's no hook to worry about breaking off. I mean, there is one, but it's harder to break it off because this threader kind of is semi-automatic, so it's not like you could misalign it. You do want to make sure that the needle is in the highest position, though. For example, if I were to turn the hand wheel right now, let me just unlock the machine. If I were to turn the hand wheel right now so the needle was a little bit lower, and I tried to activate the threader, it would not go all the way down. So you want to make sure that if your threader's not working, that your needle is as high as it goes, and then it'll work properly. So that's really important. Let me also show how to wind a bobbin, just for fun, since we're here. Let me get scissors, because I'll need those. Alright. So, basically, I'm going to go ahead and unthread the machine now, and use the same thread to wind a bobbin. So, basically, a good practice to get into when you are unthreading a machine, when you're changing colors or just changing threads, you want to snip the thread at the spool, and then pull it out of the machine in the direction that it would flow from the needle. Okay, if you take the spool and grab it and rip it out the back of the machine like you're starting a lawnmower, that just causes more lint to get in the machine. You can also damage check springs over time, so it's important to just... I don't do this every time, I still forget myself sometimes, but it really is a good practice to get into if you can just remember to snip the thread at the spool and then pull the thread from the direction that it would flow from the needle. So basically, starting to thread the bobbin is the same, or starting to wind the bobbin is the same method. The beginning steps are the same as threading the machine. So you want to put the spool on the spool pin and then put an appropriately sized cap on the end of it. Okay, even step number 1 is the same. We're still going to go behind this white plastic piece and under the metal piece. Okay, step 2 is where things change a little bit. Instead of going to the left to thread the machine, we're going to go to the right and headed toward the bobbin winder. So let's go ahead and get there. So down through step 1, okay, up towards step 2. Now, this part is where some people get confused. So basically, what you want to do is, there's a guide here, okay, and this is step number 3. So you pull it through the back of the guide, and then you go under and around this round part right here. So I'm going to see if I can get you a little closer for this. Okay, so basically it goes behind this little catch here in the back that sticks out. Sorry, it's hard to do with the camera right there, but it goes underneath and behind this little metal piece, and then it goes under the round part here, so just between the round part and the little straight platform that is there. So that is how you prepare the bobbin winder. Okay, and then when you pull on the thread, of course, it's going to flow freely. The next thing to do is to thread the bobbin itself. So what you want to do for that step is just put the thread through the hole in the sidewall of the bobbin. So this is a bobbin, and the sidewall is this part, okay, this outside part here, and there's a hole in it. So on both sidewalls there are holes, and so you want to put the end of the thread through one of the holes from the inside out. So basically from the inside out, not the outside in. Okay, and then just pull it tight. Okay, and then the next step, let's get you back zoomed out a little bit here. Okay, so the next step would be to just push the thread onto the bobbin winder. Push the bobbin onto the bobbin winder. So just push straight down. Okay, and then you need to tell the machine to wind the bobbin. So you want to put it in bobbin winding mode by sliding this whole thing over to the right. Okay, that puts the machine in bobbin winding mode. So basically there's no hand wheel to declutch. You don't have to push any buttons on the hand wheel or turn anything. All you're going to do is just push this over, and that's enough to tell the machine that the machine is in bobbin winding mode. So it's not like the older machines where you had to turn off the needle by declutching the hand wheel. This one automatically does that. So I don't have the foot pedal plugged in right now, so if I want to wind the bobbin, I can go ahead and start by just pushing the stop-start button. So I've got it down on slow speed right now just because I want to wind for a little bit, and then I want to stop and cut this excess piece that I'm still holding tightly onto. You still need to hold on to this while the bobbin is starting to wind. You want to hold on to your thread tail until it gets on there securely. So let me start for a few revolutions. Okay, so that's good. I feel like it's secure now. Just a few revolutions, and then I can go ahead and cut that excess off. Okay. Okay, so once you have the bobbin seated on the bobbin winder, you're still holding on to this excess thread tail. Okay, so don't let that go. You want to hold on to it pretty tightly, and just start the machine slowly. So you don't want to let go of this thing. You don't want to start super fast either. You want to start really slow and just let the machine wind a little bit. Okay, once you feel like the bobbin the thread is on there pretty securely, you can actually go ahead and just cut the rest of this thread tail off. Okay, so you stop the machine to do that, cut the excess off, and then just let it finish winding. You can even speed it up at that point. And the screen does say winding bobbin thread. Also, the stop-start button turns orange in bobbin winding mode. Okay, so there was enough friction to make the bobbin stop spinning. It did not stop automatically and click back over. This machine doesn't seem to do that. Some do, this one does not. So basically when it gets full enough to stop spinning, you can stop the motor. Okay, you can pick the bobbin off of the bobbin winder. There are little razors underneath the bobbin winder, so if you would like to try to cut them, you can do that with it and cut that. I don't find those easy to use, so I always still use scissors. I usually end up stabbing the machine with them, but I just find scissors easier to use in that case. So basically now what we need to do is just load the bobbin. So let me change the view again so we can see what's going on there. Okay, so to load the bobbin, what we want to do is remove the bobbin cover by sliding the catch release to the right. It will pop up and we just put it to the side, don't lose it, and take out the existing bobbin. So just pick it up and just pull it out. And then we want to go ahead and put the bobbin in the machine. So basically, this is the bobbin. There's a diagram on the machine here, and it tells you exactly which way to put the bobbin in. So this bobbin needs to unwind in a counterclockwise direction. Okay, so if I put it in like this, it would be wrong. Okay, so I want to put it in like this instead. Okay, and that actually does tell you that right on the little plate cover here. So that's nice to have, because if you look at that, you just will never get it wrong if you understand what it means. So basically, I do have a little bit of excess thread sticking off. I'm just going to cut that. Okay, so basically, let me go ahead and just put this in. I'm just going to seat it in the bobbin case here. And then what I want to do is just draw the thread through the slit. There's an arrow, so I'm going to draw the thread through this slit right here, okay? And then just take it around the rest of the slit, and that's all you have to do. So basically, if you want to put your finger on the bobbin to hold it still while you're pulling this so that it's tight, you can do that. That might help a lot. Okay, but you're just going to finish drawing the thread through the path, the slit here, until it gets to the razor. There's a built-in razor here. When I pull this, it's going to cut it right off for me. The bobbin is threaded. It's really that easy. All you do is put the cover back on. Okay, so you put the cover on and just push it down. So you put it on starting with the left side, push down the right side, and it clicks back into place. On modern machines like this, there's no need to, especially Brothers, this model anyway. There are still some modern machines that may require this, but on this model you don't have to raise the bobbin thread like you would in an old-fashioned machine. So you're ready to start sewing immediately as soon as we rethread the needle again. So let me show you just how easy it is to thread the needle again, just how fast we can do it. Okay, so let's see, we're already in step 1, so that's pretty easy. Okay, so we're doing 2, 3, 4, okay, 5, and 6 and 7. Done. It's threaded, so I can pull the loop through. Now, I wouldn't have a loop to pull through if I had cut this on the side of the razor here. That would have just put all of the rest of the thread all the way through the needle. But because I had such a long tail, I had a loop to pull through the needle. So if you do cut this first and then operate the threader, it'll put it through exactly the way it should, and you don't have to worry about pulling the loop through. But that is, and I did that the first time I threaded it, but this time I was just trying to show you how fast it can be done. It's really that easy. It was that fast. It took me, maybe 20 seconds to thread that? So, really quick. So, now I can just start sewing if I want. I can just go, let's see. And it's making perfect stitches, so that's great. It was threaded, it was easy to do. Now let me just point something out. If you do forget anything that I said here, if you also just don't want to read the book, there are on-screen tutorials. So let me zoom back out just a little bit here and show you that. So if we do the question mark, you can press this button. It will show you step by step how to thread the needle. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Go back to the tutorial. It will also show you how to wind a bobbin, step by step. Okay, and it will show you how to thread the bobbin. So we just went over those things, but if you do forget, it's right there on the screen for you. So anyway, that is pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.